Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy. I am your host, Angela Elaine. It's another Wednesday. God has been good to us, and He blessed us to see another day. Listen, like and share this video. I want to say hello, shout out to all of those who will be watching later. I have a tremendous audience that watches at a later time, but I just want to share a few things with you. Again, like and share this video. I'm so thankful that you all decided to hang out with me. It is cold here in the Chi-Town Midwest area. It is chilly. All right. So that's why I got my turtleneck on. I mean, I got the heat on. I'm not a person that likes heat. I mean, when the temperature is over 70 degrees, that's hot for me, right? I got it set to 72 and I got a turtleneck on. I'm like, it's cold. Oh my God. But I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to notice that there is cold. Listen, like and share the video. Glad to see you. Hey, Isaiah. Glad you had a decent day today. Hey, Tommy. Good to see you. All the rest of you. I don't know who else is out there. When I say there is people out here, it's because I'm on 3 platforms at the same time. So it gets, the particular platform I use gives me the total amount of people. So when you hear me, I mean, on the page you're on, you may not see that many people, but I'm looking at the total number. But I am glad to be here. Listen, let's recap. I'm tired. I am tired. Hey, Brony, I see your name. I am tired, but let's recap last week. We had a very, very, very good section on last week. I mean, the comments were absolutely phenomenal. I'm going a little light this week. I still have a lot of subjects that I need to talk about. They're kind of heavy. But I wanted to get something a little light and talk about today. It's actually not light. It is a subject that is very dear to me because I'm learning in my field. I'm a consultant, so that means I talk to a lot of different people everywhere. I'm looking down and I'm looking all around, so I know I should be facing the camera. Y'all forgive me, right? In my profession, I work with a lot of Fortune 100 companies, and I meet a lot of different people. And there's conflicts all the time. And it's one thing I like about being a consultant because I don't get in office politics. I've been an area level manager. I've been a senior staff, everything, and I just don't like office politics. I just don't. So in my particular role I'm in now, I don't have to deal with that. But yet, because I'm an outside party, they call me to, kind of sit back, and I'm like, you kind of listen to this stuff and you're just sitting there looking like, why did you say that? You didn't have to do that. I'm noticing that the trend now is people really don't know how to talk to people. I mean, you don't have to be rude or arrogant or whatever. Somebody say something out of the way to you. I do understand there are bullies. Okay. I've been one of those people that have been bullied, and you have to stand up to them. I'm not telling you not to stand up. We see all different times in the Bible where Jesus stood up and let them have it. But even now we have to be graceful when we do it. I mean, I stand too, and I'm very firm, but at the same time, I don't lose my dignity. All right. And that's what I'm beginning to see. So I want to recap the previous weeks, right? I want to recap them. Yeah, I know. Be quiet, Priscilla. Tommy said, whoop, whoop. And my friend V Rogers is out there. Hey, be quiet, Priscilla. Yeah. Okay. Hey, cousin. Good to see you. I want to recap last week. We talked about the standards, hired help versus volunteer help. And I want to give a shout out to Isaiah for that question. Very, very good topic. And we came to a few conclusions. Is there a difference between hired help versus volunteer help? The standard? No. And technically there's no difference between the two. It's just one is compensated for their skill set and the other one is not. Right? And we also, through all of the comments, fantastic comments, should the standard be the same or different for both? And it's an absolute, we came up with absolutely yes, that the standard should be the same. I don't know why I worded it that way, but anyway, the standard should be the same, right? And we also had a few other items. We say you should pray before hiring somebody, and we're talking about church people, because we know that there are a lot of wolves in sheep clothing. Everybody is not who they say they are. Let's just keep that real. Just like in the world, everybody's not who they say they are. And even unfortunately in the church world, which has thrown a damper on a lot of different things, we get all this church hurt, we get all of these misunderstandings, we get all of these different things, and communication is the problem. Communication is the problem. Hurt people hurt people. Okay, but you should pray before hiring somebody. And let's not be desperate in our hiring. Let's not just grab somebody and put them in a role, because once you get them in there, it's hard to get them out. Okay. And then, the other flip side of that is that when you put somebody in the role that's not the best person for the role, you won't attract the right people, right? Because sometimes you have the wrong person in the role. You got people that don't want to work with that person. So you never have that right person that may be a better fit for the role. They won't even try out or even come around because they don't even want to deal with what you have, right? So you don't want to be desperate in selecting anyone. Third of all, you want to list the requirements and ensure both you and that person have a clear understanding. Whatever you wish to for them to do, appearance, technical skills, rehearsals. When you have public appearances, do you expect them to come or not? Are you paying them extra? Or are you including that in their salary? I mean, we need to know. We need to know. So you need to make sure that they have a clear understanding, because so many times communication is just faltering these days. You can't assume somebody knows something. Even when I'm talking to people in my line of work, I tell them all the time, I'm not talking to you as though you're ignorant, you don't know anything, but I cannot afford to assume anything, because that one time I assume boom, we all missed the deadline because you didn't understand what was going on. So you make sure that your conversations, your communications are clear. You as the deliverer need to make sure that you remain calm. I know, and let's just say this right here. We all are human, and there are sometimes that it gets out the gate before you intend to. You say something in a way, you look a certain way when you say what you say, and it just makes everything worse. I understand that we all make mistakes, okay? I'm not saying that we're infallible and we're not going to make any mistakes. But if we take the time to think, a lot of times we react. Today, I'm seeing that people just react. They don't even think. You just destroy somebody's property and then dare them to do something. Well, everybody is not in the right frame of mind. And that's why I'm saying we need to pray. We need to make sure that we have a clear understanding with those people and not get too common. Buddy Gill made a comment on last week that really struck a chord with everybody. And I wanted to recite that on today. He said, I think many of us get so common with each other until we lose sight of the position that people hold, and the respect of those positions are lost. And that's very true. Sometimes we get very common with somebody and, we get on the first name basis. You forget, some people are like that. I'm one of those people. I don't forget who you are. No matter how we talk, no matter how much you trust me or whatever, I always try to maintain a little difference. Not that I don't trust you, but I want to maintain that respect between me and whoever. Even with my sister, she's my sister and I love her. She's my ride or die, but I yet maintain that respect. I have to respect her. And I want that respectable distance to always be there, because you want to treat people in the way that you want to be treated. If you want to be heard, then you have to make sure you have an ear to listen to somebody else. Okay. Let me get a couple of comments out here. Shanita, she's talking to my sister. Priscilla says respect is key. Yes, it is. Respect is very, 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 very important. Okay. Always maintain a respectful demeanor with people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, actually, I maintain a respectful demeanor, even with people, my subordinates, people that report to me. I maintain a respect, even if I don't care how old they are. I address all the men as sir. It doesn't matter to me what color they are, who they are, how young they are, how old they are. I address them as sir, not because I'm inferior. I don't have an inferiority complex. But it's an idea of maintaining that distance, that respect for them. And when you respect other people, they respect you back. Okay. Yes, there are always those people that are going to try you, and I always let them know, don't come for me. If you come for me, you better be ready. Be ready. If you decide to come for me. All right. Don't let the dress and don't let all of this fool you. You okay? Don't think that. And I think a lot of people do that. Don't make assumptions on people. Never do that. Always address everything with an ounce of caution. Always address people with an ounce of caution, even if you related to them. You don't know if your relative or your sister, brother, or whoever had a bad day. Address it with caution, not walking on eggshells, but you address it with caution. Learn to have discernment. We need discernment today. When somebody's talking to you on the phone, you should be able to hear. I don't care how calm they are. There's distress in the voices. I remember last night I happened to enter a call on a late where I didn't hear everything. I didn't hear the entire conversation. But when I got on, I realized, I'm like, what's going on? Everybody, I could pick up everybody's spirit through the phone. There's silence. Sometimes people can be silent and nothing's wrong with them. They're just silent. Okay. But when they were silent and I just sat there, I'm like, what is wrong with everybody? Why is everybody like this? And come out to find out today what was really the problem. But you should be able to identify and speak, have caution. All right. I learned that with people, dealing with so many different types of people. Exercise caution when you're talking to them. Okay. I mean, that's just anybody. I would do that with anybody. Right. Okay. Shanita says, cousin, you are dropping some, what is the diamonds tonight? You say you don't mind dragging if you listen. Don't do that. You know me, cuzzo. Okay. So let's go to what we're here to talk about. Addressing concerns and resolving conflicts with leadership. Now let's be real. Everybody doesn't agree on everything. Can we just establish that? Nobody agrees 100% of the time. I don't care who you are. If you are a human being, you do not 100% agree with everybody. That's just how it is. That's why Jesus put in the Bible what we should do when you have a disagreement with somebody. Go to that person directly. If they don't hear, then you bring a couple of witnesses. If they don't hear, then you bring it through another group. If they don't hear, then you bring it through the last group or whoever, or you just say, okay, we're going to agree to disagree. You go your way, I go my way. Sometimes you have to separate. All right. But there is a way, that is the proper way. And I know we have that scripture said there is a way that seemeth right unto the man, but the end of that is not good. All right. But there is a proper way. I'm not saying, and when I say this, a lot of times people get all huffy and puffy with this type of subject. Nobody's saying that leadership is correct all the time, but I don't sit there and look for flaws, right? Because I realize when you're beneath somebody, you can see that's the only person you see. So the enemy is always going to show you what's wrong with that person. But understand, while you looking up to somebody else and you seeing everything wrong, somebody else is looking up to you seeing everything wrong. It reciprocates. So you want to make sure that you address and you talk in the proper way. Always, you don't want to say things or do things out of the way. Shanita says, yes, Lord. And why people get so mad about that, I don't understand. We do that. We just get all upset, and then we fall back to the point where we don't want to go to church. And let's not do that. Let's not put everybody in the same can. Let's remember that everybody's not the same. Just like you're not the same as that person up the street. Remember that everybody is not the same. Okay. One thing I noticed in my career, the ability to work together has become a lost art during this season of entitlement. We're living in the time now that everybody feels that they are entitled. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to that. That's why we got all this confusion, right? Nobody really wants to work for what they have. Everybody, well, this is the way it's supposed to be because this is the way it's supposed to be. No, and we've lost. When COVID came on the scene and they told us you can't get close to nobody, you got to stay 6 feet away. You got to do this. You got to do it. That was just conditioning. And some people one of their proclivities is that they are easily manipulated. And when you're easily manipulated, once you get in a mode, it's hard to get you out because you're looking for comfort. Can I say this? Life is not about comfort all the time. It's not. There are going to be some uncomfortable situations. I've been going through one for the last 3 years. Very uncomfortable situation. Everything went haywire. There was nothing I could do. You can't do there are some things in life you can't do damage control, right? Me growing up thinking I was entitled to have a good life and I was entitled to this and entitled to that. And I soon found out it's not the case. In working together, you cannot have a sense of entitlement. You cannot have a sense of entitlement. The only thing you're entitled to is respect. That's everybody. We're all entitled to a certain level of respect. But as far as working together, you have to learn how to compromise, not your principles, but compromise to get the job done. All right. So one thing we have to do is we have resorted to complaining, but do not take actions. All of this protesting, what is that going to do? I'm not against protesting, but all of this protesting and all this fighting and all of this, what is it? What are we accomplishing? What is it going to do? It's not doing anything. I mean, is the problem getting resolved? We're still looking at the same problems every day. So we resort to complaining, but we're not doing anything to get the situation fixed, right? And our actions do not achieve changes. If it's not changing anything in your life, then you need to let it go and move on to something else. But that's what we have resorted to. And you don't want to be relegated to the complaint box, because it's just like the kid that always cried wolf. Oh, it's a wolf. And all the village, remember that? I don't know if anybody remember that childhood story, and everybody ran out to try to came out to kill the wolf. And then they found out that there was no wolf. He's like, there was no wolf. He did it 3 times. And then people just got kind of turned a deaf ear to it. So that when the wolf actually came and he cried wolf, everybody stayed in the house. He not doing anything. He just, whatever. They just relegated him to the box. And then when they came out and found out all the sheep were devoured but that was his fault. You don't want to be a person that complains about everything all the time, because then people turn deaf ears to you. They turn a deaf ear. You don't want to be taken for granted. Okay, let me get a couple of these comments. Shanita says, yes, people want to be given everything and not work hard for you. Hey, Pastor, my fellow president. Oh, you're welcome. You are so. That choir was on point. Actually, I'm going to show that video you had out there. On point. You are absolutely what. And your wife, hospitality. I owe her one for that. I owe her one. Thank you so much. Shanice said absolutely nothing. No, complaining does absolutely nothing. Priscilla says complaining pleases our flesh because we want to feel relevant, but it accomplishes nothing. Pleasing the flesh. And a lot of times when we get into all of these different arguments and all of this different stuff, that's exactly what we're doing. We're pleasing our flesh. Let's move on, because I don't really want to be that long on tonight. All right, let's get into things that you can do. Before you address a concern or issue, please pray. All of you that are on here, please pray before you address a concern or issue. You don't want to move in the flesh. We have too much flesh moving today. All right. It's in the music. It's in the song. It's in the dress. It's in everything. It's just flesh, flesh, flesh. And you know what? The thing that we need to remember, people that are coming from the world into the church, that they saw that in the world. They're not coming in the church to encounter the same thing. They're not. Listen. They're not. I hear from them all the time, and they want to come to church. They want to be involved with Jesus, but it's just like, I ain't coming into church to see the same thing I'm seeing out in the street. They're not coming inside to see the flesh. Look, I'm in the church. I ain't coming to see the flesh. I'm not okay. Like sit. I don't hear nothing but ching-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. I don't hear nothing. Help me, Lord. But before you address a concern or issue, pray. That's something we don't do. That's something we don't really do today. And I don't belittle anybody's feelings. I don't belittle anybody's fears or concern. Okay. But the spirit of those of us who are saved, The Bible tells us God has not given us the spirit of fear. Don't get caught up in the fear mongering. Learn the fear mongering. Learn to pray. Don't let anybody get you fearful, because fear is of the devil. I'm trying not to go over there, but that thing is disturbing my spirit. It's like all of a sudden we in the church have jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, I'm scared to fly. Oh, I'm scared to drive. Oh, I'm scared to do this. Oh, I'm scared. I'm wondering. I'm like, if you must not be spending a whole lot of time praying, because there is no way you should be. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to stop doing anything that God has given me to do. If God cannot keep me, then I don't need to serve him. Bottom line. That's how I feel. If God cannot keep me and protect me while I'm flying in the air that he created, then I don't need to serve him. Let me go get another God. If my God can't protect me when I'm driving in my car, then I don't need him. If my God can't protect me from all of these diseases in the air that they don't even have names for, I don't need him. If you're going to pray, then walk in faith. Walk in faith and not in fear, people. Don't let nobody make you afraid. Afraid. God has not given us the spirit of fear. That is of the devil. That is of the devil. I just had to get that out. That's been in my spirit. And the Lord keeps telling me, say it. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to say that. But I'm just telling you, if you believe God and you trust God, believe me, if he don't want you going somewhere, he gonna block it. Ask my sister. If he don't want it going, and if he don't want you going somewhere, boom, he will block the way. And I tell God, and I pray every time before I go anywhere, and I travel across the globe. I go anywhere. I tell the Lord, Lord, if you don't want me to go, if harm is going to come to me, then just block it. I don't care. I can go somewhere here. I don't care. I don't have to go over there. I don't have to go to Europe. I don't have to go over there. I can go. I stay home in America and go somewhere. I don't. Okay. And you know what? There have been times where he blocked the way. He's blocked the way. I had my tickets. My sister said we was on our way to France. We had our tickets. We had our hotel. We had everything. And God told us, it dropped in both of our spirits at the same time. Don't go. It's not time for you to go. Okay. And you know what I did? We canceled the hotel. She sold her room to somebody else that wanted to go. She sold her room. I canceled the hotel. We called the airline and they gave us a voucher. We saved the tickets till we went somewhere next year. I don't fear. I don't have time to fear. Okay. The God I serve, he can protect me. All right. I just want to throw that out there because I'm tired of people being afraid. That's the devil. He wants us afraid. But we cannot. I refuse to be afraid. I'm wise, but I refuse to be afraid. Let me get off that soapbox. That's not what I want to talk about. Okay. That's my friend Isaiah. He said, hello, good evening. You talking tonight? Oh, pray for me, bro. Pray for me because I don't want to teach. And Priscilla said, amen. Listen. Tommy says, talk. Come on. Boom. Boom. Ain't got no time. Come on. Shanita said, well, I'm guilty because I'm scared to fight. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I understand, though. I understand. If you've never flown before, you will be nervous. But trust me, dear, once you get up there, hey, Terrion said, definitely. He said, that's true. That's come on. You should listen. Cousin, you acting like auntie now speak. That's my mama, right? But I'm serious. I just had to put that out. I had to encourage you with all that, y'all. Just pray. Don't be fearful. Don't be fearful because God has things that he wants you to do for him. And you can't do them if you're afraid and fearful. You can't work for God if you're fearful because what he's going to tell you to do don't make sense. But when you step out and you do it, he already made the way. He just wants you to step out. And once you do that, he makes everything all right. All right. So before you Yeah. Before you address a concern or issue, pray. Pray without ceasing. All right, y'all, pray for me because I'm really trying not to go into that missionary mode. I'm trying to stay calm because I want to get off of here. Terrion, set your clock. I want to be done by 8:15. I got to get through these points, y'all. All right. Number one, I've learned, leave your emotions out of it. Okay, leave your emotions out. If you're a person that gets emotionally charged all the time, leave it out. Don't talk and don't talk to people who flame the fire. Come on. Talk to somebody that's got some sense, a mature person that's outside. You always need somebody in your group that's outside the situation that can look and say, okay, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but this is the way you need to be. Okay, this is the way I see it. All right, leave your emotions out of it. Leave your emotions out of it. Okay, never have your emotions in this because it's not gonna do anything but cause an issue or a problem. Okay, that's all it's gonna do. Cause an issue or a problem. Never do that. All right, never do that. Always keep your emotions out of it because emotions only fans the flame. It makes things worse. It does. It makes things worse. And then you'll end up in trouble. It only makes things worse. All right. So, and I stress to you, watch who you talk to. Don't talk to somebody that's going to fan the flames. Make sure you're having a mature person, somebody who's solid in the word, mature, not faking maturity, but they are actually mature and they can talk to you and walk you through this. Okay. Because sometimes situations can happen and you can get all flustered and fleety and all of that kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, you've made a mistake. You said something that's not proper. You've done something that's not proper. All right. So leave your emotions out of it. One thing I do like about having some military training, I didn't go all the way through like my brother did, but I had some military training and we learned to compartmentalize things. I learned, sometimes people get a little nervous with me, but it's not. It's just that I have to compartmentalize. I'm not letting my emotions just run off. I have to compartmentalize. I put them in a closet and I'm able to function and do the job. Once I get home and I want to process everything that happened, then I take them out and deal with my emotions. You got to deal with it at some point in time, but I learned to just box it up and put it over there, lock it in the closet so I can do the job. All right. That's what you have to do. Leave your emotions out of it. And the reason being is because Proverbs 15:1 says a soft answer turneth away wrath. Right. Two people who are emotional, it's just going to escalate. All right. You're going to start. You might be bantering and you blah, blah, and you blah, blah, and next you know, you calling one another names. And then next you know, you're exchanging blows and then it just escalates. No, a soft answer. Oh, bring it down a notch. Oh. Somebody got to stay calm. But grievous words stir up anger. Somebody who you upset, they upset, boom, boom, boom. You're not going anywhere. You're wasting time. And the Bible tells you don't go to bed on your wrath. I paraphrase that. Okay. Let me get a couple of these comments. Terrion said, come on, mission. Stop it. Shanita said, we needed that. You have to obey God and do what he tell you to do. You're right. People are always telling me obedience. I'd be like, Lord. Tommy said, go there. I listen, bruh. She said, come on now. Tommy, what did you say? My thing is, why can't you just be logical as possible? That's it. We're not always going to be right. I get it. But if it don't make sense, since 360, come on now. Emotions can make it more than what it is ever supposed. Exactly. And that's how a lot of people end up in road rage incidents. That's how people end up in fights. That's how people end up, in hospital, all kinds of drama that is totally unnecessary. If we would just take a step back and listen, it's not always easy to do that. I'm not going to sit up here and say there's a quick formula. No, but I'm trying to give you pointers of things that I learned. I've been in situations where things escalated and it was like, whoa, I didn't need to do that. I didn't need to do that. And then you end up, and the problem with most people is that we don't want to say we're sorry. I wish I had a bell or a horn or something. We don't want to say we're sorry. What is that? Why is that? Somebody help me understand why we don't want to apologize. Who convinced us that apologizing it shows a sign of weakness? Who convinced us of that? Who convinced us of that? That apologizing to somebody is a sign of weakness. No, actually, it's a sign of low self-esteem. You're afraid to be wrong. Let me tell you something. You're going to be wrong at some point in time in your life. I mean, I hate to go to the auntie mode, but you're going to be wrong at some point in time in your life. You're going to be wrong. And they're going to catch, and everybody going to know you wrong. So you're just going to sit there and keep going on. And then, they have all these thoughts in your mind. Oh, everybody looking at me, everybody. No, just look, mad respect for somebody that stands up and I've been wrong. I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay. You know what? Honestly, people have more respect for you when you can admit you're wrong. People have more respect for you because that's a trait that that's something that most people don't want to do. It takes strength to do that, to face people and say you're wrong. And I'm not talking about this grandeur thing. You could have just spoke out of turn. And somebody said, no, that's not the right answer. You said the wrong thing. Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry. But somebody, instead of saying I'm sorry, they'll stand there and argue for 5 minutes. Well, you could have just said you sorry and we all rolled it on. See, now you're arguing. So now you done made yourself look ignorant too. Everybody's just like, you know what? Okay, I had a job for you, but I'm gonna move on, right? And I'm be honest with you, I lost a job being foolish. So I'm not telling you just blah, 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 off the side. I'm not talking off the side of my neck. I'm telling you the truth. I lost a good job because of that. So I'm telling you, learn to just be calm, learn to take a step back, process your thoughts. If they think you slow, that's fine. You don't know what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what I'm thinking. I know a lot of people do that with me because sometimes I have to do that. I see people do foolish things and I have to take a step back and breathe. Sometimes they're like, oh, I know what I'm getting ready to say is harsh, but they look at me like, oh, you were sitting up there looking like this, that, and the other. And I told them, I said, yeah, I was, because I was trying to figure out whether you were stupid, dumb, or crazy. I mean, why would you do that? Why? Take a step, but I do that. I take a step back and I try to analyze the person and see where you're coming from. Because I'm not going to act the fool arbitrarily. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be known as that person. Okay, let me check these comments right quick. Who is this? Elisa said, we also don't apologize because of pride. Come on, sis. We don't apologize because of pride. Pride, absolutely. Hey, Z, my mentee. Love you too, sir. Love you too. I'm glad you're here today. Oh, Pastor Daddy, the new father, new husband, Matthew Levy, my brother, my friend. Liz, true strength to say you sorry. Absolutely. Let's move on. My next point, are your concerns in line with the vision? When you're talking to your leader, because a lot of people do that. I hear a lot of people talking about my leader this, the pastor that, whatever. Okay, so before you go to your pastor and voice your opinion, like I said, first of all, pray and maintain a level of respect. Don't disrespect anybody because you never know where you're going to end up one day. All right, God has a way of making you a leader, and you will have something. Because you know what? Always remember this principle. We quote it when people do wrong, but remember it comes when you do right as well. But you always reap more than you sow. You put a little seed in there, you're not just going to get that little seed back. You're going to reap a whole lot, okay? You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. So make sure that when you address somebody that is in a position or in an authority, I'm not saying they're right, but you need to recognize and respectfully address them, okay? Before you disagree with them, hopefully you had a conversation with them as to what they expect you to do. Never take a job and you don't know the expectations. All right. So we're hoping that you already talked to the pastor and you got this cleared up. You know what your job is. They gave you a job description. They sat down with you and talked about this. Are your concerns in line with the vision? All right, this is you going to them, tell me, well, I got an issue with what you told me to do. Is it in line with the vision? Did they tell you what the vision was? Right? And are you proposing a better way? See, the thing is when you address somebody that's in leadership, and I'm telling you, I've addressed pastors, bishops, CEOs, CFOs, CIOs. You know, they may have given me something to do. Bishop, my own father. And I'm sitting there going, okay, you know, I mean, you telling me to do this. And I'm like, okay. I don't see this because you know, sometimes here's the thing. You got to remember this. They may give you something to do. I'm watching this time. Okay. They may give you something to do. But remember, when the supervisors at the bottom see more of the day-to-day transactions than the one at the top. Right? The one sitting in the office don't see everything going on. Now, they may have a carnal knowledge of it because the best way to become a manager is to go up through the ranks. That's the best way. I don't care what nobody say. That's the best way. Start from the bottom and work your way up. All right. But a lot of times they forget when you get to working and you seeing things on a global scale, you forget all of the activities that go at the bottom. All right. So when they give you something to do, they may not necessarily recognize the fact that you working with the workers, right? You see all of this stuff going on. Remember, they kind of forgot. I'm telling you, I'm the same way. I'm up here and, you know, the people on my team have to tell me, but we don't do it that way. And I'm like, why did you do that? Why don't you do it that way? They said, didn't you realize that we do it? This is the new system. I forgot. Oh, my God, I forgot. You get out of touch. So that's what I'm saying. When you come and talk to them, remember, they're out of touch with everything that's going on at your level. That's why they got you there. They don't get involved in that. So remember that when you talk to them. And when you go to them, propose a better way. Rehearse what they gave you. I used to do that with my dad. My dad was a very good, I got a lot of my training talking to him because he was an extreme military man. And he was an all-around Renaissance man, karate fighter. He was he's got trophies going all around in the garage for all the stuff he won. And now he was also a theologian. He had an earned doctorate in theology and he was a counselor. So, but whenever I approached him and he gave me something to do, and I'm doing this, saying this for your benefit, he gave me something to do. I didn't necessarily understand it. And he would give it to me and tell me he wanted it done, but I'm sitting there looking like, well, this is what I got to work with. It's not going to work. So when I would sit down and pray and come up with a new way to do it, I would go to him logically and talk to him and explain to him, this is what you told me you wanted me to do. I rehearsed the whole thing. He was like, yes, exactly. That's what I want you to do. Okay, but it's not going to work. Why will it not work? Because thus, this, that, and the other. I will spell it out. This is why. But then I would tell myself, but I propose that we do it this way. And I would talk that way to CEOs, all of them. Your title don't scare me, but I understand respect. I understand position. You know, when you got that military training, you understand protocol, chain of command. And I explained it to him. And then he was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Do that. I'm telling you, when you talk to them, rehearse whatever they gave you, then propose something else. Give them an option. But if you walk in there with this attitude that this is messed up, you don't know what you're doing. See, now you're stirring up grievous words. You're stirring up anger. And you're causing confusion. All right. Are you with me? Or am I by myself? Y'all with me? All right. I see a lot of, like I say, I see the mass. I see a lot of you on here. So I'm assuming what I'm saying is helping you out. Okay. Another thing, remember, just as you want respect, you should give it. The Lord rewards us based on how we act, not the other person. All right. You make sure that you are addressing the issue in a proper way. God is going to bless you for what you do. If they act the fool, that's got nothing to do with you. Always remain calm. Always sit there and remove your emotions out of it. Like I said, learn to compartmentalize. Move your emotions out of it. Just because your mind, let me tell you this. In moving your emotions out of it, your mind becomes more fluid, right? You're noticing everything around you. You're noticing the atmosphere. All right. Your spiritual senses can do more work when your emotions are out of it. Right. You're aware you can read a person better. I'm telling you, you can read them better but when you're emotional, you don't see anything. You don't know anything. It's like having blinders on. You can't see. But when your emotions are out of the picture, I'm stressing that. You become more fluid in your spirit and in your mind, and you can see and you can hear. Okay. I got one more and I'm going to be done, y'all. I plan to be done by 8:15. Okay. Priscilla says, reap a harvest. Yes, you going to reap a harvest, whichever way you go. He said, I like that advantage. You always reap more than you sow. Seriously, you do. And Zaire said, thank you, my mentee. Thank you. And Tommy Teffer said, witness. Come on. I got my last point, y'all. I'm doing real good. It's almost 8:15. I'm trying to keep it under 45 minutes. All right. Write down your concerns clearly. When you talk to anybody, never try to address concerns off the top of your head. It's never going to work. Because when you try to think of things that you want to address with that person, you opening the door for your emotions to come in, and then you just messed the whole thing up. You just messed it up. Write down, boom, 4 or 5, whatever it is, write it down. Whatever your concerns are, whatever you have an issue with, write it down. Write it down and give the reasons why. Add structure to what you're saying. Amen. Add structure. Don't just let your thoughts go willy-nilly, because then you're not going to make sense. Okay? You're not going to make sense. You want to make sense. You don't want them sitting there looking at you like deer, like you just waste my time, looking like deer in the headlight. They don't know what you're talking about. Write down take your time, pray first, but then write down all your concerns and then give your reasons why things won't work. And then behind that, give them options or offer recommendations. You'd be surprised. I'm telling you, you would be how you disarm a person when you're calm and you're addressing them with you. Because automatically when you walk in there and say, can I talk to you for a second? Guards are already up. What you want to do is disarm the guard, help them to bring the guards down so you can have a fluid conversation. All right. I mean, that's anybody walking to, can I talk to you for a minute? You already, depending on how they address you. If they smiling or whatever, you might raise the guard up just a little bit. But if they looking stern, you all the way up, because you don't know what's coming. You want to be protected. Okay. So you want to write down your concerns clearly, give your reasons as to why, and also give recommendations, everybody. Give recommendations. Don't just come in there and tell somebody you don't like what they did and blah, blah, blah. And they looking at you like, then you get relegated to the complaint box, right? And that's a bad place to be, because nobody's going to pay you any attention. Nobody's gonna, you too much, you got too much baggage. But what you have to do is get healed inside, learn yourself, understand communication is key. I know they killed it with COVID, and this pandemic kind of made everybody go, whatever, flighty, you just fly off at anything. You don't want to do that. That's not a mark of maturity. That's actually childish, very childish to do that. I see grown people, you 50, 60 years old, and you falling out in the floor because somebody told you couldn't have something. I don't know. It's just the forces at work. All right. But we who are called of Christ, we are to exercise the benefits of the Bible and show the world a better way. Believe me, somebody's watching you. Somebody is looking for you to be an example of how they should be. And when people see somebody acting in the way that they should be, it'll catch on. It'll catch on, because it'll show, if we don't approve of bad behavior, it'll stop. People only do what they do because we give relevance to it. We share it. We promote it. We do all of these different things. And that's why we see what we see. But if we don't give it the credence that it's looking for, or the attention that it is looking for, it'll die down and it will cease. And when it's all over, you'll be the one standing. Trust me. As they say, trust me. Several times, I've been a PK for over 40 years. People are people. And if you address them in a certain way, some people you get to, and that's why, I thank God for discernment. And it has developed over these years. I've learned how to read people, because it's like, you see a whole lot being a pastor's kid. You see a whole lot. And I thank God for every ounce of experience. I hope I said something to help you on tonight. Listen, I'm cutting off. I said enough. It's enough for y'all to cook a good meal with. All right. So let all of them saying marinate. Go back and review the tape. Thank you all that are viewing this later. You can rewind and go back and see it. A lot of good points were made. And I appreciate you all hanging out with me on today. Let me get this last comment. Oh, my dear cousin. He said, keep on teaching, cuz. My dear cousin, Jimmy Lee. Thank you. Good show and teaching. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you. Appreciate you, cuzzo. Appreciate you. Tommy's there. Pastor Matt. Appreciate you. Thank you all. Elisa, thank you for being here on tonight. Thank you, everybody, for what you did. I appreciate you. Listen, like and share this video. Tag some folks and let them know. Thank you, Tommy. Love you too. Everybody be blessed. Love y'all. Listen, I'll be back next week with another good topic. Oh, yeah, I got a whole lot of good stuff to share with you. Okay. Listen, love all y'all. Have a fantastic week and peace.